about me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be going over some of the changelogs which have happened over the last few days. Now the reason why I've left them for a while is I think I'm going to do this in future. Generally a lot of the changelogs either have stuff that I've already covered in, such as either BR changes or tech tree changes, or they have little bugs which are fixed. So I think saving them all into one video makes a lot more sense instead of splitting them up into separate videos, so you guys would basically just have really short videos which didn't really mean a lot. So what we're going to be doing is looking over the last ones which I didn't cover last time, starting in the 15th of November 2018. So this was the server change which affected the tech trees of the Soviets and the Germans. If you want to know any of the information on this, I did a video here called War Thunder Upcoming Naval Changes, Germany and the USSR, published on the 9th of November. All of the videos that I talked about here will be in a pinned comment, which you can see and access the videos for yourselves. But basically what it's done is it's moved some of the machines around in the German and Soviet tech tree in the hope that it will equalize the speed of player progression to ensure equal research speed conditions for destroyers. So what they're trying to do is make it so the blocks between you and the destroyers are the same size for every nation. And to be honest, I think that's fair enough. On top of this, what they've also done is change some BRs around. As you can see, they actually swapped the Fruns and the PR159. One is now at 3.7, the other one is at 4.0, and all the changes you can see pretty much in the tech trees anyway. So, as talked about, the S100 used to be here. Instead, now they've pushed it up. They've made these into a list, and also for the Soviets, they swapped around the PR159s, and they swapped around these two, I believe, or something similar to that. Basically, if you want any more information on these changes, make sure to check this video. On top of this, remember that the LCS is now up to 3.7, so it's gone up again. I do believe it started at 2.3. I think it and the SF40s, they both started, it was either at 2.3 or 2.7. Nowadays, not so much, but it's just it's kind of funny. The biggest change that I think is great, which came with this server updates, was the Fairmile C, going from 3.0 to 2.7. The big thing about the Fairmile C, which is located here, is there was literally no reason to use it over the SGB. Remember that this thing used to be 3.0. So the SGB was it, with more guns, and also torpedoes. So the SGB had, a 76 on top of all the other guns. It also had the some 20mm as well, and some extra 12.7s, not extra 12.7s. Basically, the Fairmile has two sets of dual 7.7mm Vickers, where the SGB has a 76mm. And torpedoes. So seeing them at the same BR didn't really make a lot of sense, and therefore it is nice to see that the Fairmile C is now at a low BR. Now, what I would personally do, if this was what I would personally do, since all of these are labelled as gunboats, or at least the SGB is labelled as a gunboat, I would actually swap this and this. So you have a 3.0 vehicle going from 2.3 to 3.0 to 3.7. That for me makes a little bit more sense, but I suppose right now in its current iteration it's completely fine. Also, on top of everything, the 40mm on this machine, it has a 4-round clip. I can't find any historical data for this Rolls-Royce semi-automatic cannon having a 4-round clip. I feel like it's just one of those things that's been done to make it, not reload as quickly. Basically, it should have effectively a Bofors reload. So if you have any information on that, please let me know, because I've been drawing a complete blank on it. But the change is good. It means that it actually has a place in the game. The next update 1.83.0.90, all this did was in the controls menu for each vehicle type, buttons that swap the gamepad's left stick axis and to the right and vice versa have been added. So if you use a gamepad and you don't like using it conventionally, then you can do it the opposite way around. This is great. Something that I remember as a child when I used to play a lot on older PCs, you know, Windows 98 and Windows 95 and all that rubbish. And then also on, you know, old stuff like PS2s and PS1s, not being able to invert looks and stuff like that used to do my head in. So it is nice that nowadays, you know, these aren't really an issue, and it's nice to see that we have progressed as a gaming community to have all this stuff in. Like, the amount of options and controls that War Thunder has is completely crazy. Absolutely crazy. The next one was the server update 16th of the 11th, 2018, and this affected mines, and basically the VS8. So the mine's active time duration has been increased from 2 to 4 minutes. Remember last week we had the test of the VS8. If you weren't able to get your hands on it, I did a video here on it, the VS8 Schell 1, and we actually did a good period of time actually testing the mines. If you want, I've actually put in the description here, look, you can just click kind of where you want to see, and where you want to see, and you can, you know, go to the mine testing or gameplay or whatever you want to do, you know. You can just pick and choose which bit you want to see. So increasing them from 2 to 4 minutes obviously makes them very much more effective. I thought personally they were fine at 2 minutes, and the reason for this was I just use them as a defensive measure in arcade. Maybe the decision to make is in arcade they have a 2 minutes, and then in realistic they have a 4. But once again, the main problem with this ship is the same problem that a lot of ships have. It is a win more mechanism. And what this means is it doesn't help you, you know, get that initial footing. But once you have that initial footing, this pretty much guarantees a win, or at least guarantees your area of the map be in your control. And that's something that has to be emphasized. It's not going to win games, but it is a win more condition. I personally had a lot of fun in it. I do think it definitely had quite a lot of bugs on it, which I go through in the video, but increasing it from 2 to 4 just makes it better in every way. I think it becomes less strategic now, because you can just kind of plonk them anywhere and leave them for 4 minutes. It'll be interesting to see how long the recharge rate is in arcade, if that's affected or not, because if it isn't, then you're going to have mines all over the place once these things become, let's say, mainstream. Overall, I thought the test was successful. It was nice to see these mines. Hopefully they get added to a bunch more machines instead of just premium vehicles. On top of this, I thought the way that they implemented this as a test was perfect, you know, giving a small event for people to do, so you unlock the vehicle. I just wish it was for a longer period of time, to be quite honest. I thought it would be much better if it was for the whole duration of the event instead of just 24 hours. Moving on to 1.83.0.95 on the 17th. We have a problem when launching games on laptops with an integrated AMD graphics card has been fixed. So there you go. If you're using a laptop with an integrated AMD graphics card, like I used to do, and still do, if my main computer isn't working, then it's working, which is great to have. Anyway, moving on to the bigger updates, I think, which is the server updates 20th of the 11th, 2018. This was where the implementation of the new engine and transmission mechanics has been implemented now in ground forces. So if you don't know what that is, once again, did a video on it. It's about 20 minutes long. New repair and damage mechanics. But basically, what you're looking at is arcade-style mechanics put into realistic. You can see here the ones that they've referenced. So if your engine gets disabled, then you have to wait 20 seconds, and after that 20 seconds, the engine power is restored to 40% of its original power, and then the transmission blocks the vehicle movement completely for 20 seconds, then the range of gear change is reduced by 2. So basically half. So overall, what we're getting here is the 2 implementations of the engine and transmission thing, but what we're not getting is the other ones. If you remember in that Devblog, there were actually some other little tidbits as well, such as these two here. So a disabled elevation gear and a destroyed barrel. They haven't implemented them, just the engine changes. I still think this is fine. I personally was fine with the other changes as well. Something that is always been a pain to me is the difference between a stock vehicle and a spaded vehicle. There is too much of a big difference, whether it is in shells that you use, whether it is in the fact that you are, you aren't able to repair things such as cannon breach. So overall, I like these changes. 20 seconds, I think I have to emphasize once again, like I did in that video, 20 seconds is a long ass time, right? And I'm going to emphasize what I mean by this. So let's go through some vehicles that people use. So let's go in for A2, 6.5 seconds. So that can shoot you 3 times in 20 seconds. Let's say the Jumbo can shoot you 3 times. Let's go a little bit up in BR. T-34 can shoot you twice, technically. The M103 can shoot you twice. Remember, these are stock reloads, so anything, in addition to this, the crew skills will lower it, so it can shoot you twice. The Abrams can shoot you 3 times. T-95 can shoot you twice. The M163 can shoot you as much as you want. Moving on to, let's say, Germany. The Panther D can shoot you technically 3 times. The Tigers can shoot you technically 3 times because you got the 1, then you got the 10 second, and then you got the 20 second, right? So that's 3 times. And then the Ferdinand, that can shoot you 3 times. This can only shoot you once though, or twice, sorry, technically. The Mouse can shoot you only once, so there's that. The Leopard 1 can shoot you technically 3 times. This can shoot you 3 times. This can shoot you 3 times. You see where I'm getting at here, right? So there's a bunch of vehicles where 20 seconds is the time it takes you to shoot 3 shells at an enemy. Even less than, 20 seconds. So you being dead there for 20 seconds gives the opportunity for an enemy to pump into you 3 shells, right? So they're probably going to kill you. For me, this change, for the 20-second change, is much more designed for if you get hit by artillery and you're kind of stuck there, or if you get shot, you're able to trade shots and you need a bit of engine power to get to a cap point. So the majority of the time, this change won't affect anything. But for those little bits of time where it does, it's going to be highly effective and it's just going to be nice. So I think this change overall, as I said in the video, is a good change. Now we have a bunch of bug fixes. So the MPK-163, bug where the mortar became available after unlocking depth charges, has been fixed. A bug where bombs were not being displayed in X-ray view has been fixed, well that's good. The cowl, bug when firing the main caliber gun caused depth charges to also drop, has been fixed. That is an odd one. The S-38B, a bug where torpedoes were still displayed in the X-ray view after being launched or fixed. Basically, what I'm going to tell you to do is go read these for yourself, since there are a lot of them, and the majority of them, it'll just be me saying them, so it's kind of pointless. There is 2 things that I do want to bring up though. So oil tank a few things actually. So chance of destruction for larger ships with 1 hit has been decreased. So either, I don't know whether this means hull break, or I don't know whether this means just getting 1-shot ammo racked by, other ships. So it looks like larger ships are going to be, or are at least going to have, more survivability. I think this is good because it means that long ship battles with larger ships are a lot more fun than who's going to RNG the ammo rack today. I think that's more interesting. Other stuff is that smoke trails for all naval MGs and autocannons of caliber 7 to 40mm have been removed, which I don't really understand why, unless they're trying to do it for performance sake. One of the things I have found with naval forces is that the performance of it, when it comes to FPS and stuff like that, definitely not on par with other parts of the game, so maybe that's the issue. They've also added overheat to all the larger naval autocannons. I think that's a good idea, obviously, especially that PR-159. And then the overheat has been removed for all naval MGs up to 20mm caliber. Now, this is just not true. I don't know what else to say, unless I'm reading it wrong here. So the LCS... LS3 has a 15mm gun on it. Now, according to this, the overheat has been removed for all naval MGs up to 20mm. The gun jams. Would that not be classed as an overheat? Or what do they class? Maybe they class something else as an overheat, I don't know. Or maybe this is just a... Maybe this is just something that is different, but I'm not sure if I agree with that, to be honest, unless I'm saying the mechanic wrong, which I might be. The oil destination is good. Oh yeah. So here's the interesting one. So each caliber now has a preset of dispersion diagram and shard penetration value. So HE and AP and shrapnel rounds have different diagrams for shard dispersion. Sheets of armor penetration and kinetic damage of HE shells have been corrected. The damaging effect of HE and AP shells of medium and large caliber, so 57 to 180, has been reworked. Now with increasing caliber, the damage effect will also increase correctly, and shells of different calibers are more significantly different from each other. The striking ability of shells of larger calibers is now much higher. So what that tells me is the larger the shell, the more damage you're doing. Where before, it may have been the case, but now it is much more greater, I think would be the word. So the stopping power of your shells, depending on how large they are, have got much greater. But where you normally see these large guns, they've also made it so larger ships won't get one hit. So overall you're going to be doing more damage, but it's going to be harder to kill ships, or at least one-hit ships. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. It would be really nice to see diagrams of these shard dispersions, but unfortunately something tells me we're not going to be able to see that. On top of this, the torpedo launch animation speed has been increased for the following vessels. Thank the Lord. And what do I mean by this? So, the LS4, LS3, S38, S38B, so basically all of the first line, the S100, the S100 Lang, so this one and this one, the S204, which I have no idea what that is, the Type 143 and the PR-183. So the Type 143 is this bad boy, the PR-183 should be, there we go. Oh, does it mean this one? No. What is the 204? If somebody could tell me what the 204 is, that would be absolutely wonderful. But I have literally no idea what the 204 is, unless I'm just blind. I might be blind. But anyway, one of the issues with the S100s is even though they were torpedo boats, their torpedoes took ages to come out the tubes. Well, if you want to have a look now, you will find that it takes absolutely no time at all. And that is glorious. Oh, that feels so good. Because before you'd have to line it up, you'd have to wait about 5 seconds for the thing to shoot. So now it's just a simple whoop and straight out. Oh, that is much better. That makes me feel a lot better than before, because now it means that my torpedo should be a little bit more useful, and it should be easier to be able to put them in places. Instead of waiting, you know, that extra 5 to 6 seconds, or even 3 seconds, to line up a shot, I can just fire them and then I can go on my merry way. That to me sounds like a wonderful thing to do, so I'm really happy about that change when it comes to arcade and when it comes to realistic ships. Overall, A lot of good changes here, bug fixes and all of that good stuff. A lot of changes to higher tier things when it comes to Naval, so I'm wondering how that's going to affect everything. Also, I need some clarification on the overheat for Naval MGs thing, because it's just... I don't think that's true. I might be wrong, though. The Asheville as well, it's getting quite a buff, you know, losing 5 seconds on a reload, so it's down to 10 seconds. API-T for Vickers guns, that's also pretty good. Overall, a lot of changes to ships, and it's going to be interesting to see how they affect everything. I am very, very happy about the torpedoes, though. That makes me incredibly happy. Also, as I said, I wouldn't worry too much about this change, you know, this one, the new repair and damage mechanics. I only think it's really going to affect people in very, very specific circumstances that I've laid out. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.